Paul Finebaum called out Gunnar Stockton this week down in Destin at SEC spring meetings, and Kirby Smart clapped back, as the kids would say. Here's the quote from Paul Finebaum. They were doing a segment called, I guess it was Fine or Not Fine. They asked him about Georgia's quarterback, Gunnar Stockton. He said, quote, "Georgia will not be fine with Gunnar Stockton. I know the team rallied around him during the SEC championship game, but I was underwhelmed with what I saw from Gunnar Stockton in the Sugar Bowl loss to Notre Dame." And quickly, because I feel like I've said this all offseason, Paul Finebaum did not watch the Sugar Bowl real close, because anyone who did knows that Gunnar Stockton didn't play nearly as bad as what everyone thinks, right? Everyone's talking about how, Georgia lost the game because they had a backup quarterback. No one believes in Gunnar Stockton across the country now. All these experts saying Georgia's taking a step back. He looked bad against Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. They lost. No, they lost because they had zero run game. The offensive line played really poorly. They had drops all over the place. And you got to remember, they had some walk-on scrub run into the umpire and erased Gunnar Stockton's best pass of the day. He got lit up, but he threw a perfect ball 50 yards down the field, hitting Arian Smith in stride, put them down inside the 20, I believe. It got called back because Bozo ran onto the field, run into the ref. There was the 15-yard penalty, and it ruined the entire drive. But Gunnar Stockton was not the one who was missing blocks, dropping passes. He wasn't the reason why Georgia ran for 2.1 yards per carry in that ball game. Gunnar Stockton played better than people think, and I just don't understand where this is coming from. If you're underwhelmed with Gunnar Stockton's play against Notre Dame, I don't know what you would have thought Carson Beck was going to do. That was a very good Notre Dame defense. Anyway, we can get back to that. But Kirby Smart, he kind of laughed it off. He was right there with Paul Finebaum when they replayed that segment and that quote to him. They both started laughing. Kirby Smart said, "I appreciate all your questioning of it. It gives me a little extra." He went on to say, "I'm excited. Gunnar Stockton got the message." Gunnar Stockton got the message. Now, Gunnar Stockton's not on social media. I'm sure he didn't watch that. I'm sure he's hunting, fishing, doing his thing somewhere else. Maybe practicing with his wide receivers, right? Whatever he's doing, he's not watching ESPN. He doesn't care what Paul Finebaum has to say. But Kirby Smart watches this stuff. I mean, this is a guy that is looking for every little piece and bit of motivation. And I'm telling you right now, they have all the ammunition they need. He's got everything that he needs to tell his team when fall practice starts, hey, nobody believes in you. He can actually say that this year, right? He told the team in 2022, after they had all those players drafted from the 21 national championship team, everyone thinks you're going 7-5. That was ridiculous. No one said they were going 7-5. Everyone knew Georgia would be really, really good once again in 2022. They went on undefeated national championship. This year, he can kind of say that and be a little realistic, because now Texas is the king of the SEC, right? They're the team to beat, which is not true. Georgia's still the reigning champ. Nobody believes in Gunnar Stockton. Kirby Smart does. Nobody believes in Mike Bobo. Kirby Smart does. Nobody believes in Georgia's defense after losing the best linebacker in college football. All-American safety, All-American defensive line, and others, right? Among others, etc., right? Etc. Kirby Smart does, right? He believes in his staff. He believes in this team. And I get the question marks, right? They're replacing a lot of guys. There's a lot of new faces. The transfer portal's really messed things up. And he had a lot to say about the transfer portal. He is not happy with where things are as it relates to the portal, the openings, when it's opening, when it's closing. It's twice a year. Like, it's all a mess, and it's got to be figured out. He has no problem with his quarterback. And you can kind of tell in this video. You can watch all of this on Dawg Post, by the way. This is a free story that I quickly wrote, put up last night, Tuesday night, when all this came out. But when Paul Finebaum, I got to get his name right. He's a big deal, apparently. He is a big voice across college football, in the SEC, obviously, and he's on ESPN, SEC Network. And when he's out there saying, I don't believe in Gunnar Stockton, first off, where do you think Georgia's going at quarterback? You think they should have talked Carson Beck to coming back? I don't want to say that bridge was burned, but they needed a new change, right? Carson Beck needed a new, fresh start. It was the draft, and he decided, hey, I'll go make $3-4 million, whatever it is, in Miami. That was a smart thing to do. But something needed to change. Georgia didn't need Carson Beck, and Carson Beck needed a fresh start somewhere else. This is the time for Gunnar Stockton. This is year 4. And when I go back and watch the Sugar Bowl, I see a lot of really good plays. The plays he made, the touchdown throw to Cash Jones that everyone's probably already forgotten. I know Georgia fans, they don't want to go back and watch that stuff. And people across the country, they're not going back and watching all the good things that Gunnar Stockton did, right? People forget that was a really nice play when he hit Cash Jones down the sideline for that touchdown. He hit Dylan Bell wide open down the field. Ball hit him in the hands, hit him in the chest, hit him in the face mask, and falls to the ground, right? Gunnar Stockton was airing it out at times. His left tackle was getting beat nonstop, right? The offensive line played poorly. There was no run game. And again, there were more drop passes. That was a theme of the season, and it carried into the Sugar Bowl. Coaching really lost that game. That game was completely even, except for the end of the first half, right? When they should have just taken a knee, gone into overtime. They're backed up. They're thinking they can march down the field, get some type of points. Monroe Freeland gets beat badly. Gunnar Stockton gets blasted. Ball goes flying. Notre Dame scores quickly after. And then instead of kicking it through the end zone to start the second half, they kick it to the guy. He takes it back to the house, and that's 14 points. One at the right before the half, one to start the second half. That really changed the game. Outside of those 2 plays, this was an even ball game. And I'm going to let you know Gunnar Stockton's numbers right here. He was 20 for 32 for 234 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He had the fumble, right before the half, but he got blasted in the back, right? And he wasn't great the whole time. There were some things he's got to clean up. There were some, receivers that he probably should have got to a little quicker. So, he wasn't perfect. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying he was better than you think. Pretty much everyone watching this video right now, whether you thought he played awful, poorly, average, or slightly above average, it's still probably better than you think. And I'm not just saying that. He made a lot of big-time throws that people have just forgotten about. They look at the scoreboard and they see that they lost by 13 points, right? And they just blame it on the quarterback. And I've seen too many Georgia fans, when talking about this game, say, well, what do you expect? They had the backup quarterback. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Without Gunnar Stockton, they may have gotten shut out because they could not move the football on the ground. Receivers were dropping passes left and right. If you think Carson Beck is leading Georgia to a big-time game, throwing points all over the place against that Notre Dame defense, I don't know what to tell you because you're out of your mind, right? Carson Beck couldn't do anything against Texas. They bring in Gunnar Stockton, and in the second half and overtime, he's the one who led them to victory. He gives them a little something different. He wasn't able to use his legs against Notre Dame. He was running wild in the backfield, trying to not get sacked over and over again. But they couldn't use his legs, right? They couldn't block. They couldn't do anything. And a lot of credit goes to that Notre Dame defense. Drew Aller, I don't think, did any better, the Penn State quarterback. I mean, that was a solid defense with a really good secondary and an excellent front. Notre Dame's defense won them that game, and coaching. But it wasn't their offense. Gunnar Stockton outplayed Riley Leonard in that game. All I'm saying is that Paul Finebaum made that ridiculous comment, and then Kirby Smart gets on the stage and says, hey, thanks for the motivation. We don't really need it, but I'll use it. I'll take it. And Gunnar Stockton, he gets it. What was the quote again? He said, I'm excited. Gunnar got the message. So Kirby Smart quickly texted Gunnar Stockton when he's out there catching fish, doing whatever he's doing, said, hey, Paul Finebaum doesn't think you're good enough to play at Georgia. He was underwhelmed with you playing like a warrior against Notre Dame in a losing effort, but he played better than people think. And I just don't, I want the narrative to end that Gunnar Stockton did not play well against Notre Dame, because it's not true. Go back and watch. He threw some darts. He made some really nice throws. A big one 40 yards down the field that was dropped. Another beautiful ball down the sidelines where walk-on bro just ruins the damn play. Context matters. And when you look at the context, you look and see, well, Gunnar Stockton actually didn't play too bad against Notre Dame. The rest of the offense did. Gunnar Stockton didn't really play all that bad. And people are just forgetting about him. And if you think Georgia's taking a step back because they're having a backup quarterback, what do you think about Texas? Right? Is Texas not taking a step back because Arch Manning was the backup last year? Now he's the starter. If he was so good, why wasn't he starting over Quinn Ewers, who barely got drafted? So, Georgia's got a new quarterback and they're taking a step backwards. Texas has a new quarterback and they're taking a step forwards. It doesn't make any sense. But hey, And Kirby Smart's perfectly fine with everyone saying, hey, Gunnar Stockton's not the guy, Mike Bobo's not the guy, Georgia's defense isn't going to be the same. They're going to take a big step backwards. He knows this team's not perfect, and he knows they've got a ways to go. He said it throughout the spring. But deep down, Kirby Smart's smiling and thinking, okay, thank you. We're going to remember all this, right? We're taking notes, bulletin board material, right? Because he's just itching for something that he can tell his team. This is still one of the premier programs in college football. They're going to be really good next year, and he's got a lot of motivation that he can use and show it to Gunnar Stockton, show it to Mike Bobo, and show it to himself, right? So Paul Finebaum called out Gunnar Stockton in a way, and Kirby Smart said, no, dude, Gunnar got the message. I think he's going to be just fine. You all can question him. I'm sure not going to do it. But yeah, you can read more about this and watch that quote from Paul Finebaum over on dawgpost.com. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Go read that story. It's free, and I'll see you over on the website.